the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
Do you find that since our back injuries, we're now back to normal pretty much? We're back to regular mobility. But
I feel like I could run a marathon.
Yeah, but I have a question for you. Do you ever do an action in your house and go, that was just stupid? Like I will grab something so carelessly with like a bend over without using my knees or whatever, and I'll just do it quickly, and I'll go, what am I doing? I'm just rolling the dice here. Like I just got better and I just made an action as if I'm 31 and not 32. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I'm so reckless.
But you are 32. That's the problem.
It's the problem.
You need to acknowledge you're 32 years old now. You've crossed
the streams.
The streams. You've crossed streams, and now we're gonna cause a nuclear reaction.
Hi, Veronica. You look like you were about to say something.
Hi. No, I was just looking at the camera. You guys look so good in orange.
Yeah, I know.
I love how
I'm glad you called it out. If you're not watching the show, Noel and I wore close to the same color orange today. They're a little different. But we must look like we really planned this out.
We often do.
We do. Sometimes we're wearing the same purple, sometimes we're wearing the same green, sometimes we're wearing this. We actually have
We prefer to call it plum.
Plum. Yeah, we do refer to it as
in our
plum.
office, we call it plum.
Plum, the plum shirt. Yeah. And then we have this gray dress shirt with black stripes that's identical, and we have somehow miraculously never worn it on the same day.
Very unusual that we're actually wearing the same clothes on the same day.
Yeah. But
we sometimes alternate, like the pants and the shirt will be because we have also similar pants. I don't know if it's that, because I don't buy my clothes.
I don't. I find them outside. I just go outside and I just look for people that left pants on like this side of the road, and I go, those look great, and they usually fit.
Well, that's okay. So I thought because I wasn't buying my clothes that was different, but apparently that's just how we do it.
That is how we do it.
And that's why.
It's very green.
That's why. Well, okay, so, I do, I guess, that's not true entirely. I do buy my clothes now, but it's under supervision.
Yeah, you're supervised. I can't go shopping unless somebody watches me.
It is. Yeah. My wife is responsible for what the final decision
that's true
is. But she gives me the leeway to at least walk around and pick 50 things that I think look nice.
Yeah.
And then she takes 45 of those and throws them in an incinerator.
Yeah.
And then we have to pay for them because they were still in the store when she incinerated them.
Yeah, you should stop incinerating your clothes. So I feel like that's not the right way to go.
That's not a good move by me to grab so many clothes because it costs a lot of money. I don't even get to wear the clothes.
Yeah. Why you partner with somebody is to get that final answer on a lot of things.
You do.
You partner with somebody because you make a choice and then you look at the other person and you go, yeah? And they either go, or they go,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you do it.
What percentage of the time do you get the and what percentage of the time do you get the
on my clothes?
On your clothes.
On my clothes. I get 90% of the time I get
Really?
Yeah, because I know my body.
I know my body.
If anything, she's more bold with the choices for me than I am for myself. I'm pretty safe. So like a lot of things I choose are very neutral, mild colors, more muted colors, more dark colors. And so she'll sometimes choose something for me, bring it home, and I'll go, I don't know about this. And she'll go, trust me. And I'll put it on and I'll go, I've never felt so alive.
Look at me.
Look at me. I'm Sandra D.
Let's
go ahead
and take a moment for Olivia Newton-John.
A moment of silence. Is that good?
That was great.
Okay. Yeah. Olivia Newton-John.
She
R.I.P.
She meant a lot to my family. Well, Australian, right?
And yeah.
So any Australian when I was growing up was a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal.
ONJ fan.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Big time.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Who wasn't an ONJ fan?
You gotta love the ONJ.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
She was amazing, and a smoke show. Do you remember in the leather outfit she had at the end of Grease?
Do I ever?
Yeah, with like the permed hair.
Rewind, pause, play again.
Wee.
Watch on repeat from Grease.
Holy cow!
Yes. Holy didgeridoo.
Holy didgeridoo. She was a babe, and what was cute is she had a kind of a lifelong friendship with her co-star, Danny.
Danny, Mr. Travolta. I know, it was very sweet. And we're sitting here, and she just passed, And Noel tells me, he goes, well, did John Travolta write anything about her? And I open it up and we read it together and tears.
We just started crying.
I was like, come on. Soul crushing. It was so sweet. It was so heartbreaking.
It was so sweet. Yeah.
I loved it.
Well, we miss Olivia.
We do.
Newton-John.
So she left behind a great legacy of work and talent. She was a wonderful singer, wonderful actress. She was an activist, and she did a lot for women's breast cancer. She did amazing things. So you will be missed, and we love you.
We love you.
We love you.
Yes, I love you so much.
Yeah. That was funny. We went there from the song.
We did. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
You didn't mean to make me cry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. That should be a song if it's not.
Yeah. I know. I was just thinking that. Yeah. I was like, is that a song?
I didn't mean to make you walk away from me.
The author of that song is also dead. I don't know if you know that.
Who's the author of that song? Me?
Yeah, Kloopy Magoo.
Kloopy Magoo.
Yeah.
You know what?
Old Kloops.
Old Kloops. Who wasn't a Kloopy Magoo fan? Where was Kloopy Magoo from?
We all love Kloopy Magoo. Nashville. Oh, he's a classic.
He's a Nashville gem.
He worked his way from the bottom floor of those Broadway street clubs all the way up to the to the top floor to the headliner, and then just became a sensation.
Oh gosh, I remember
old Kloopy Magoo.
My first Kloopy Magoo record. I remember thinking, this is magic. It was called Upholstery Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you start an upholstery fire without me. You know that I need to be there.
It's so good. It sounds like I'm listening to Kloopy Magoo for the first
Kloopy Magoo really knew. Kloopy Magoo knew. That was the phrase people would say.
Oh yeah, that was the slogan.
Yeah.
Kloopy Magoo.
Kloopy Magoo knew.
Oh, you guys, I got to tell you, what you're witnessing right now is a game that Noel and I play all the time. And I don't know if we really played it into fruition on the podcast, which is just like taking something like that and just going further and further and further. I love it. And
then it becomes real.
It just becomes real. Now Kloopy Magoo is a real thing, and we'll never forget it. Yeah. But how's everybody doing? We're ready to get into it.
Do we have to get to it?
I guess so.
I suppose we should really start the official.
Well, the main reason is this is the only reason I end the shenanigans sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
We're so busy.
I know.
We have so much going on. Everybody in this place is doing a million things, and so when we do the podcast, I'm like, we get to have fun.
Yeah.
We get to play for a little bit and have jokes, but like we eventually have to stop and go back to doing all the other millions of things that everybody's doing.
We have allotted the time for this, though.
Yes, that's true.
You know, we do have to fill 30 minutes to an hour
so
of,
are you telling me?
Of podcast content, of high quality podcast content, and that includes Kloopy Magoo songs.
Kloopy Magoo knew, baby.
Yeah,
Kloopy
it does.
Magoo.
It really does.
You're right.
So, I mean, I'm just saying we are busy, but we also can't leave this recording studio until we have delivered the goods.
We got to deliver the goods.
Right. The goods must be delivered, or
goods delivered,
or people will stop listening to the podcast.
Is that a tag? Goods delivered.
Goods delivered.
Goods delivered. or we delivered the goods. We delivered the goods.
We delivered the goods.
Because it's a Kloopy Magoo song.
It is. It's a Kloopy Magoo classic.
Oh my God.
Got my papers.
It's a classic.
So I did.
You know what's nice about Kloopy Magoo?
What?
Is I have a feeling that he's like going forward, we're going to hear a lot of his songs. There's a lot of the songs we've sung in the past, and we never credited Kloopy for those. And now people are finally going to know.
Totally. People don't know this, but that whole Budweiser campaign, "Real Men of Genius," that was inspired by Kloopy Magoo.
It was,
because that was like a blatant Kloopy Magoo ripoff. The real men of genius.
Absolutely.
Because he had that raspy kind of I didn't mean to make you cry. Remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
Upholstery Fire. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Kloopy Magoo had the most Americana.
Yeah, he did.
Not his voice, but also his songs.
Yeah.
He really and he was uniting, I think, also.
Yeah.
The way he would,
Absolutely.
the topics he would sing about were pretty much agreed upon across the globe. I'm gonna miss him. I'm sad he's gone.
Kloopy Magoo knew.
Yeah.
And he'll always know.
Yeah.
He'll always know.
Yeah. Even in death, he knows.
Even in death.
Yeah.
Veronica has this look on her face. Like, I can't.
I don't know what to believe.
Don't even know. Well, you should always believe us. You should believe everything that you read on the internet, and you should believe that everything that Noel and Jacob say.
100%.
On the Biofriendly Podcast.
100%.
I can't tell.
I'll let you borrow a Klubi Magoo record, and you'll see. You'll see. Okay.
You can only get him in vinyl, though, so you're going to need to get a record player.
Yeah. I'll get
Magoo.
You do?
Oh, my God. Of course she does.
Of course you do. You're classy.
Veronica sometimes... She'll start singing a song, like she'll drop a song.
Oh, yeah, she knows classics.
From 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s.
Amazing.
And it's a goodie. Yeah. It's a goodie. And I'll just be like, what?
Yeah. Sometimes it's like 1910, 1920, and she's like, I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard that song. She's like, played on my old radio.
Steamboat skiff. Roll down on the river.
Hey, exactly. See what I'm saying? She knows so much music for the past.
Oh, she does. She does. She really does. She really does.
All right,
American mountains in the distance.
Yes, American Mountains in the Distance. That's a 1913 classic. A lot of people never heard that one because it was never recorded.
It was never recorded.
I don't know how Veronica knows.
But Veronica has it memorized.
Jeez.
That was it was like in the old days. You'd have to pass it down generation to generation.
Yeah, it was
so
sung to her.
Exactly. Sung to her by her mother the same way that it was sung to her by her mother.
And then what's great is
her mother before her.
And she just passed it to us, so now we'll sing it to our children.
Now my children will know that song.
American Mountains in the Distance.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Oh, you guys.
That's 1913. What a time. What a time.
I live for the shenanigans on this show. I really do. Like the first half and the tail end of this podcast is my favorite moment of the week. It really is. I love it.
Me too.
Good. All right.
Shenanigans
aside.
We can take it seriously.
Okay, we'll take it seriously.
Let's get going.
So I did the same thing again this week, which is where I find an article and then I kind of bridge it. I'll bridge it.
You're going to bridge it?
I'm going to bridge it. So what I do is I find the thing, and I'm like, it's a cool article, but like, how can we take this a step further?
Okay.
How can we go deeper? So the article I found says, scientists create biodegradable paper battery powered by water.
Wow.
Pretty fascinating.
Paper battery powered by water?
Yes. This is kind of a shocking thing.
Had I known that I could just throw some paper in the ocean and that would provide power.
Yeah, what you can do is get a ream, get a ream of paper, pour some water on it, and then just shove it in your car and vroom.
Shove it in the record player and out comes Klubi Magoo.
Out goes Klubi Magoo. If you want to power your portable record player, you just get a piece of paper and a cup of water and Klubi Magoo all day, every day.
Does it have to be salt water?
Let's find out.
Okay, let's find out.
Researchers at Swiss Federal Laboratories for Materials Science and Technology, their abbreviation is EMPA. EMPA, E-M-P-A. Yeah. So they're EMPAs.
Okay.
EMPA. Have invented a biodegradable battery that is printed
Do
on...
they get angry when people have empanadas? Because that means...
Probably.
That means that's essentially nothing, empa, right?
Yeah, empanada.
Empa nothing.
Yeah, so if you say, I want an empanada, it means you're canceling
basically canceling the college.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I right about that?
Empanada.
Empanada.
What would you...
Wait, say an EMPA is?
EMPA.
Well, it's the
EMPA's
Swiss
the
Federal Laboratories for Materials Science and Technology is what it is.
Come on, haven't you been listening? We're doing a podcast here.
No, right.
Keep up.
EMPA, yeah, so no college.
No college.
No college.
No
wow,
laboratory.
that's what they mean, no college.
No, empanada.
Wow.
These guys, the empanadas, have invented a biodegradable battery that is printed onto paper, okay? The paper battery could revolutionize single-use electronics. So that's important to note here. Single-use electronics. And it turns on with droplets of water, okay?
Okay.
We are using electronics for more things than ever before. Our increased use of technology has a huge environmental effect, especially with battery technology. Batteries, they're teaching me about batteries. Never mind.
Single-use electronics.
Okay, so let's get what that is, okay?
I'm trying to think of something that I only use once that's an electronic.
Right.
And then throw away.
Right. So let's see what they mean, because I'm curious here. The battery is printed using a modified 3D printer, which prints the battery using their recipe of carbon, cellulose, glycerin, and table salt.
Yeah, so I knew it would be salt water.
You knew salt would be in part of this, because salt is powerful, right? When it's on my fries, when it's... when water is added, the salt dissolves.
It's an electrolyte.
It is. It's an electrolyte. Isn't that cool? It is cool. When water is added, the salt dissolves and releases charged ions. At the negative terminal, the ions come into contact with zinc, causing it to oxidize, essentially causing it to rust and release electrons. Okay?
Interesting.
So this is how this processes work. I don't want to blow up my next story.
No, you're doing it.
Okay.
This is great. No, you're doing it.
Okay.
You think I'm making fun of you because so often I do.
So often you do.
But actually, I'm pretty.
You're pretty interested?
I'm pretty
Okay.
stoked with what
I'm throwing down here?
You're doing great.
Okay, the battery can store electricity for hours. So that's the idea. The battery, this paper battery that has been activated with water can store electricity for hours and has been used to power a small digital clock in a prototype. So that's obviously not a single-use electronic, but let's get to what it is.
Okay.
The battery can withstand thousands of charge and discharge cycles, so you can do this over and over again. Be stored for years without use, as well as survive in freezing temperatures. It is also shock and pressure resistant. When you no longer need the battery, it can simply be popped into a compost bin. Within 2 months, it will have completely broken down.
Okay.
Okay? So this is the reason why they've invented this
I wonder if
thing.
they mean like single-use batteries.
That's what they're
for,
talking
for
about.
the electron, like not
Yeah.
the electronics, but like you're using a single-use battery in an electronic.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. It says the battery could help revolutionize how some Internet of Things devices are powered. I don't know if that's like a poor translation, the Internet of Things. In the future, such capacitors could briefly be charged using an electromagnetic field, for example. They could provide power for a sensor or a microtransmitter for hours. So it's these short bursts. For instance, the paper battery could power a tracker on a package or be used to power devices that monitor the environment. Instead of needing to be collected again, they could be left to naturally break down in nature. So that's the idea. So it's like we could attach this battery to something that's being shipped, or we could put something out in the middle of the wilderness, whatever. You don't actually have to go retrieve it again. It will just dissolve over time. It could power this thing. So that's so it's scientific in nature. Pretty interesting, right?
This is terrific.
Yeah. So, for instance, the paper battery could power... Oh, I already read that part. Anyway, so that is the story that I found.
This is terrific.
You like it.
This is an outstanding. This is an
Invention.
outstanding potential invention here.
It really is.
that they're up to. This
Yeah.
is out. This is amazing.
You dig the Impas.
I'm in.
You're not Empanada.
I'm
You're
empatoro.
What's Impa what?
Empatoro.
Todo?
And para todo.
Oh, does that mean like let's go.
I'm for everything.
everything Empa?
Like
Empa todo.
I want it all. I don't want it. Yeah.
Well, man.
That is a. I mean that is. That look, if it works, and it sounds like they've got it working. That's like. That's a clever idea. The way they're going about it's a really clever way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know how long the charge lasts.
Yeah.
I mean, thousands of recharges is a big deal. That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Dude, batteries are a problem.
They really are.
They're a problem. If we could start coming up with ways to make batteries that can decompose quickly in nature without screwing it all up. I mean, this is It's a good. The thing I also like about it is the potential to expand upon it, right? To spend more money on the tech to make it better. I don't know, like the amount of energy you can store. There's probably a limit based on what they're using. Yeah. So they may not be able to make them too much bigger, but I like the way they're going. I like the direction they're going, because that's to me I feel like the world has kind of decided, whether we like it or not, that it's going to go electric and it's going to make battery farms and it's going to go that way, right? Yeah. So if we're going to go that way, the only way we can survive it is by making better batteries.
Better batteries.
Really. I mean, that use more readily available and reusable materials.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. So last, before I move on to what the segue was, but so it says one last thing that this device could be used for is in the medical field, because with a small single-use test devices such as blood glucose monitors or constant glucose monitors for diabetics, this is something that can be used in something that it's used once, and then it can be recharged and used again and again and again. So it's not like you have to create a battery that needs to last for a long time. It can just be this one little slip of paper that's been 3D printed. Mm-hmm. So it says the battery is printed using a modified 3D printer. So that's what made me think. When I found this article, I was like, we've had discussions about batteries on the show a lot. We've talked about batteries.
Oh, yeah.
We're
obsessed.
We're obsessed with batteries. So I was like, it actually led me to a different point, which was 3D printing.
Before you get into 3D printing.
Okay, yeah, because you want to stay on batteries.
Ronnie, could you do me a favor? Could you grab a device with which to look things up from the world?
Yeah. Do you want to check something?
Well, you said there was something. They talk about the Internet of Things.
Yeah, the Internet of Things.
Internet of Things is a phrase, and I've read it before, and I didn't bother to look into what because that's a thing right now. Internet
really?
of Things is a thing. So I want, while we're live on the air.
I love this because this makes us feel.
Have Ronnie
this is how the podcast rolls.
Look up the Internet of Things because that is a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because when I read it, I was like,
you didn't read it wrong. That's a thing.
I thought maybe I was reading like a European translated thing, and it was like revolutionize how
these Swiss don't know how to talk.
Yeah, it was like revolutionize how some Internet of Things devices are powered. So what is that? Do you find anything for Internet of Things?
The Internet of Things describes physical objects with sensors, processing ability, software, and other technologies that connect and exchange data with other devices and systems over the internet or other communications networks.
Okay, you were right. The Internet of Things.
That is perfect. That's a perfect application.
Yeah, it's a thing that you have in the world that communicates with other things, right? That's what the Internet.
Via the Internet.
Yeah, the Internet of Things. Got it. Okay, so that is a thing, and that's what we're moving into, which is you have this device talks to this device, talks to this device, because they're all communicating over the Internet.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't. Okay, so right now, Amazon's getting. Surprised. I'm surprised.
What are they doing?
They're getting kind of attacked. Well, people are starting to realize what's happening. Like they've purchased Roomba, and they've purchased this medical research where you send in your blood and get get your data back and all that. They're buying all these things that kind of one at a time seems like not so big of a deal until you realize that a Roomba can map your entire house and listen to you wherever you are.
Oh no.
And tell you exactly where, what size couch would work here and which bed would be better for that and how many, how many kids are running around the place. Like with a Roomba, you can find out a lot about a person, right?
Yeah. You can scan their home.
And if you now are getting medical data about people, you now know do they have diabetes? What kind of medical things do they need? What's their, so they're getting more and more personal into they're trying to get as into your life as they possibly can. And they're actually purchasing things that allow them to do that.
So this is the Internet of Things.
Yeah, well, the thing is, their idea is, and this is where it relates, is if you have their new Amazon microwave, right? That you just tell the microwave that you want to cook it for this long, or whatever, right? Their their refrigerator. So the refrigerator tells you what you're missing, what you bought, what you've got, automatically orders what you're gonna need from the Amazon Fresh store or from Whole Foods, whatever you like, and then has it delivered to you without you even if you give permission, without you even needing to tell it.
Right.
And then these things all communicate to each other, all talk to each other, all know what's going on. And so the more devices you have, the more that you are interconnected with all of their stuff. It's very convenient and very wonderful if you don't give a hoot about your privacy and you're like, no, I want somebody to make this easy for me. I want somebody to just know what I need and give it to me.
Right.
But I do think that's problematic for humanity.
Yeah, and it's interesting because if you look at science fiction films of where we were headed in the future, even in the Jetsons, but going into films like Minority Report and where you get this vision of the future, it's we saw these cool high-tech things where you lived in a house and you had all these automated things and you would be able to talk to a robot or you would order something and it would just appear out of nowhere. It's I don't think people thought through. It's in order to make that a reality, you have to be connected to people that would be able to do those things for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And those people are going to want to be, it's capitalism. Yeah. They're going to want to get more and more efficient at it.
And so we were watching, we're that would be so cool if I said cheeseburger, and then I opened a thing and it was there. It's like all these things will require people to get more involved with who you are as a person so that they can fulfill what you want before you even know you want it.
Yeah, I mean the way we do it now, right? If you created a cheeseburger printing device, then you wouldn't need that. If someone had a better invention, but that's not the way. That's not the way we're going, and we're not going that way because the money is pushing us in a different way.
Yeah,
because we go where the money takes it. We go with what's available.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting
Well, the
little side topic.
I don't have to. No, I think so. One of the main reasons I chose the next topic, and you just kind of gave me a segue, which is the 3D printing aspect. So I found the article on batteries, and I just thought it was interesting that it was being 3D printed. And I was like, well, we've talked a lot on the show about batteries and battery tech, and I thought this is a cool invention, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But we don't have any more data on where it's going. It's just the initial invention, right? So I was like, I don't know if I want to spend the whole show on the about batteries, but I was like, we haven't really talked about 3D printing. And so I found this thing that was like, is 3D printing eco-friendly? Because this is where it's being applied. And I thought it's an interesting concept because it is becoming more and more readily available. And it's kind of one of those things that's on the fence because I didn't know this, but it's obvious once you say it out loud that the normal manufacturing process is called subtractive manufacturing. Right. And 3D
you get a
printing,
block of something and you cut it down.
You cut it down. Yeah. And 3D printing is additive manufacturing. You're building only the parts of the component that you need. So you don't start with a block of metal and then shave off so you have scraps. You're taking scraps and building the item. So that already makes it kind of an interesting alternative. And what you just said about 3D printing a burger or 3D printing, it puts the ownership on the creation to the individual, right? So it takes it out of like, I need to find a store that sells this one part. Instead, you can go, I'm going to make this part. There's no need to make 10,000 of these parts. I'll make what I need as it happens. It doesn't need to be populated in a store. I don't need to rely upon somebody else to do it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought overall,
all you need are the right molecules.
All you need are the right molecules, right? Exactly.
Just go buy your molecules to the molecule store.
Yeah, go to the molecule store
instead of getting toner.
Yeah, right.
Damn, I've run out of carbon.
I need to go get some carbon, man. So it's a fascinating thing. And then there's this one last application. I'm hoping we have enough time to go into it. But so, what do you think about 3D printing? Do you think it's like a good thing, or?
Well, okay, so a really good. One of my best friends is a toy designer.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's one of the things that they've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. Where they would make prototypes of the toys. Like the initial prototype would be printed. Would be 3D printed, and that was with plastics. Like you have the right resin, and then you could just mold that into whatever you wanted it to be. You get all the different pieces, you put them together, you make the toy, and say this is the prototype. Yeah. Then they'd send it to China, and then China would paint it with lead paint, kill all the children. What?
Oh, what did
I say? No. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
No. My God.
They stopped that. They stopped. Sorry. Okay. They realized that they can't let
They shouldn't
do that use
anymore.
lead paint anymore.
Apparently. Allegedly.
They don't use the lead paint anymore. But but that's and it's interesting. It's interesting idea. It's there's a lot of clever practical uses for it. I always thought how neat would it be to be able to just 3D print a couch, whatever I need. They make the thing that I need. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm up for it. I think it could be really great. I think that just like with anything, if you build it responsibly, then you probably could make it work. If you just kind of, what's the most profitable way to go about it? Because if the most profitable way to go about it is to make it so that it's not efficient but easy to get out there and cheap, then maybe it's not going to be so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just as a kind of a bird's eye view of the process, so everybody here knows what 3D printing is. It's like a machine that prints up the item, and so it's predominantly used by you see TikTok videos of people like making an Iron Man suit out of a 3D printer. It's like it's for hobby designers, it's for makers, DIY people. They're working on some kind of machine or computer, and they need a case, or they need this specific part.
Typically, they're using plastics.
Right.
So that's the thing we can start with right there.
Right.
Is how long is that plastic thing going to last? And if you can just unlimited print whatever thing you feel like you want to make out of plastic, is that going to be good for the planet?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So that would be an initial downside, I would say.
Yeah, so it says there are several different types of 3D printers and materials. To narrow the focus, we're going to talk about one of the most popular choices, fused deposition modeling, or more commonly referred to as FDM. Okay. FDM. The bad news is that 3D printing uses plastic filament material to print objects, and the two main types being used are ABS, not IBS, so not irritable bowel syndrome. No. ABS, acrylamide. Oh, jeez.
Acrylonitrile.
I'm just going to point to you. Acrylonitrile, butadiene.
Butadiene styrene.
Jeez. Wasn't that your rapper name in the 90s?
It was.
And PLA, polylactic acid. Polylactic acid. So acrylonitrile, forget it. You heard it once, you can rewind it back. So ABS or PLA. Okay. The good news is that they are not created the same, and a quick comparison of their traits will highlight which one has a less of an impact on the environment. So ABS.
Did I say butadiene or butadiene? Because sometimes I get the booty in my head.
Yeah, you said
it's butadiene.
Oh, you said butadiene, I think.
Oh, baby.
I like butadiene better.
Oh, baby.
So ABS, petroleum derivative product, is oil-based plastic, okay? So that's right out of the gate. Then we have high temperature resistance on ABS. It's strong and durable. It releases toxic fumes. But butadiene does not degrade, and it's non-recyclable. So ABS that has some issues with it, okay? Mm-hmm. PLA is corn-based thermoplastic, low temperature resistance, so that's unfortunate. Doesn't release fumes, unsuitable for durable parts.
Not good.
Biodegradable over time.
Good.
And recyclable.
Good.
So we have the same problem that we have, like, we've talked about this before when they were talking about toys, Legos, right?
When we did our toy episode, that was
the subject.
The issue was, to recap for those of you who just joined the podcast.
Are you just now
haven't been listening for the last
3.5 years?
3.5 years.
Okay.
Recap is the issue that toy companies have, the reason that you don't have a bunch of biodegradable plastics.
Yeah.
Is because people don't want their toys to fall apart.
Yeah.
When you get your Lego and your in your kit, you want to be able to put your Legos together and use them over and over and over and have them work and have them be reliable and have them stick together the way they're supposed to and have them do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
There has been over 100 years of practice at making
testing
plastic,
making sure that it doesn't go anywhere.
So there's so much money, tech, and time behind plastic that they know exactly what they're doing with plastic. They know how to make it Pizza Hut, making it great.
They know how to make it great, baby.
They know what they're doing. With the newer biodegradable options, they are really good for the environment.
Yeah.
In that respect, they're wonderful. But the products suck.
They can't hold it up.
The products suck. They fall apart quickly. They don't mold as well, so they're not as exact or precise. The thing that people love about Legos is when you stick them together, they click flawlessly every time. They always fit. Yeah. They always click. They're always perfect. They work every single time.
Yeah.
And this was what my toy designer friend, whose name shall remain nameless.
Nameless. That's actually his name. Nameless.
Nameless.
Yeah.
Nameless Douglas. Yeah.
Nameless Douglas. He was your hype man with your rapper career. Yeah.
He was.
Butadiene in the house. We're featuring Nameless Douglas. Anyway.
Where were we?
Legos. And they stick together.
Yeah. So they get. But if you make them with inferior materials, they don't work every single time. They don't work flawlessly. They don't always click together the way you want them to. They fall apart and they break quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're designed to biodegrade. They're designed to break down, so they do.
Yeah.
The idea that my friend had was if you invest in it, if there's a commitment to invest in it, and some of that can come from the toy companies, but there is they've got to also invest in making the products that they're still making, right? Like they can't stop doing what they're doing.
Right.
So they are investing in it. They're going into it. But to get the amount of investment and time and energy that you need as compared to what was put into plastic it's a lot greater than people realize.
Yes.
And it's going to take more time than people realize.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that is kind of the issue.
Yeah.
So perhaps with 3D printers and with more people wanting this kind of tech, perhaps this could help to speed up the research and development.
Ingenuity. People coming up with something. Yeah, and I agree. And when I read about it, I was like, okay, so we've got this issue, the two plastics, and then it talks about energy consumption. It's like, look, it's just like anything else that you plug in and how much you're going to run it. But it brings an interesting thing because we started on the piece of, the paper battery that's activated by water. That's 3D printed. So you can begin to create this idea of this additive manufacturing. And so that leads me to my third and final part that we don't have to spend too much on. I just thought it was cool because it is an application of 3D printing that you go, wow, this is where this technology could really benefit the future and where we're headed. And they're using 3D printing to conquer outer space. So the idea being...
We're going to conquer space?
We're going to conquer it. We're going to take over it and dominate it. That's the headline of the article.
Those poor spacelings.
I know, the spacelings. They're like, we're playing with Legos out here.
Man, I was just trying to hang out with my mom.
Come on.
Because we got this really good recyclable Legos. So they actually work and they stick together every time.
And you guys are trying to conquer space.
I would love to be able to use it. I could even show you how it works, but you're not going to let me do it. And that's very sad.
Aww. That's a sweet kid. He's a sweet space kid.
He's a little spaceling.
And that's how they are.
He's minding his own business playing Legos.
Yeah. No, it's good news. They're using the words conquer, but they just mean like... I thought this was pretty cool. They just mean defeat. Overrule, just destroy all planets. That's what they mean. So anyway, I thought this was cool. In another project to bring us closer to future space exploration, NASA turned towards 3D printing, and specifically the expertise of famed 3D printing construction company Icon. In the latest project, which will be taking a look at the possibilities of creating habitats on other planets, the startup has recently announced that it will be 3D printing a simulated Mars surface habitat in collaboration with architecture. So this is where it begins, but it goes a step further and talks about if you could get 3D printing machines on like the surface of the moon, they could, in theory, utilize
moon rocks
and develop and build. And so this means you wouldn't have to transport as many materials. You could actually manufacture them. And this is the way that they're talking about 3D bioprinting, being able to bioprint in space as well. So it's like, this is kind of a cool technology if we could figure out how we get to doing it where there's, not plastic being used that's harmful, but using the 3D printing technology to conquer space.
I mean, I just feel for poor little...
The spaceling? Yeah, I do too.
No, I look.
Yeah.
If you are concerned about the survival of the human race.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone is anymore, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
The way things are
going right now.
Treating each other. But if you do, and I imagine whoever's left after the Great War of
2028.
That's going to happen where we all murder each other for not agreeing on
politics,
on pronouns.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever it is that we're not agreeing on.
Whatever the million of things that we're fighting
or
over.
Jesus or whatever it is we're not agreeing on. If we whoever survives that war would probably want to be on more than one planet.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Okay.
The one that we live on, even if we manage to get it under control, have good technology where we're not overheating it or overcooling it or doing anything to make it act up and destroy us with storms and everything else. Even if all that is right, an asteroid at any moment
could take us all
that we have no control over, that we can't move, that we can't blow up because it's too big, could just wipe us. We'd be done. That'd be it. Goodbye. Ding dong. Finished. Okay. So if you care then about the...
But that's not going to happen, kids. We're fine. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, we're not... Oh, it's never happened before.
It's not going to happen in your lifetime, kids. You're fine. You're fine.
It's unlikely to occur, and hopefully we would have some idea. And hopefully we'd try to do something to stop it. And there's all these... We all watched Armageddon.
Send Bruce Willis and oil drillers into space.
Yes.
And
Ben Affleck. Liv Tyler.
Yes. Armageddon.
They would go to space.
We don't want to miss a thing.
They would drill into it, and they would destroy it, and we don't want to miss... Exactly.
Don't want to miss a thing. Anyway, back to your point.
Yeah.
You were saying an asteroid may destroy us.
Sometimes we're so good at distracting
inhabiting other planets.
Okay, so if you did care about the human future, you would want to be multi-planetary.
Yeah.
Right? You'd want to be on more than just here.
Earth. Yeah.
Right? So you'd want to have the cloud city on Venus that we talked about.
Right.
You'd want to have the dome cities on Mars that we talked about.
Yeah.
You'd probably even want to have some stuff on the moon, and on some of the moons of the other giant gas planets that are out there, right? You'd want to start putting people on these other places and making them as livable and wonderful as it is here, or as close to. But the only way that we're going to be able to pull that off is if you can sustain yourself on that planet alone.
Yes.
And that's where it gets complicated, because to start it up, you'd have to use some resources from Earth. You'd have to. You'd have no choice but to do that.
For sure.
But if you can come up with...
But then you have to keep going.
Yes. If you can come up with tech like this, where you can easily and quickly, or more easily and more quickly, survive without any help, that's the trick.
Yeah.
be on that place and not need Earth anymore.
Yeah.
And that is going to take a lot of technology and a lot of creativity and a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I think we could do it. Yeah. I really do. I think there's an example of people thinking with, maybe we could do that.
This was my favorite thing that I read. Life in space is obviously not always fun. The lack of gravity greatly affects astronauts' bones and muscles.
Speak for yourself.
It's always fun for this guy. That's why ESA researchers have been working on 3D bioprinting project to design skin and bone samples. The printing process was done in reverse to prove that it can be transferred to space in microgravity conditions. If astronauts could have 3D bioprinter on their trips, they would be able to respond to medical emergencies. In the case of burns, for example, the crew could print new skin. In ESA's case, several skin and bone samples were 3D printed from plasma, methyl, cellulose, and alginate. Isn't that amazing?
That's pretty awesome. Are they doing that on Earth?
They should be doing it on Earth.
I mean, I know.
I could probably use some skin.
I'm just saying that people get burned on Earth a lot more than they do in space.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if they figure it out, then I'm sure they'll bring it to Earth.
We're all worried about conquering spacelings. It's like, there's another poor sad kid whose entire arm has been burned off. It's just like,
I just wish that I could have some skin because my arm is burned off and I would love to have some skin too.
Now he's on South Park.
I want some skin.
No, but before we get out of here, I do want to say as one tangent, you brought up Armageddon. Have you seen that hilarious thing? I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Ben Affleck once on set said, like, out loud, was like, why wouldn't they just train NASA scientists to drill and not take oil drillers and train them to be astronauts? And Bruce Willis goes, shut up, Ben. Because they'd gotten so deep on this production. I think Bruce Willis was like an executive producer. They were all in on this movie, and it was like the most logical thing was, and the defense, they added a line even where in the movie somebody says like, why don't we just train? And Bruce Willis does this thing. He's like, you want to know what it takes to be out there in the field and drilling and know what you got to come up against. So it like made it sound like you wouldn't understand, NASA scientist.
You're all brains.
You're all brains.
We don't need brains for a situation like this.
We need brawn.
We need brawn. We need Bruce Willis. And that's why I'm here.
I enjoyed the movie, but when it suddenly dawned on me, I was like, wow, yeah, that's one of those movies where they committed to the plot, and then like when they were almost done with production, somebody said it out loud, and they were like, we got to add a line.
We could fix this with a line.
Fix this. One guy said, Bruce Willis going, you don't understand what it's like on the oil rig. It's hard. And the rocket scientists are like,
problems. They come up and you don't know what to do about it. And it's like, oh, thank God, because there's never problems when you're flying into space on a rocket ship that need to be solved in the middle of the situation.
15 rocket scientists sitting there with like the best degrees in the world on how to solve a problem.
Like, you're right. Problem solving is difficult.
It is really hard, and I don't know
how do we ever do it when dealing with anti-gravity, microgravity, and celestial bodies slinging through space at different speeds.
We could never figure out how to run an oil rig. We could never figure out how to drill. Amazing, right? Amazing. Anyway, that was so tangential.
Because flight has no problems ever.
These
when
guys
you're trying to get yourself back into an atmosphere that's trying to bounce you out of it, it's never. That doesn't present unique problems that are unsolvable.
Exactly.
By a frigging driller.
I know. Driller's like, you just don't get it, NASA.
You don't get it, NASA.
You're all a bunch of eggheads.
My job's way harder than your job.
Interesting.
There's no way that you can do what I do. You want to land on that asteroid precisely at the right moment, at the right speed, without crashing the vehicle, and then pull out the equipment and drill it down. You're gonna need me to do that.
You're gonna need me up there in space. So you're gonna need to spend 6 months as the asteroid comes closer, almost killing us, rather than tell 15 rocket scientists how they drill into a rock.
This is called a drill.
And they go, got it. So how much time do we have? Actually, we have plenty of time because we don't have to spend 6 months training you guys.
Actually, what's great about this is it only took us 2 months to train the scientists how to drill. It was going to take us 6 months to train the drillers how to be astronauts.
Amazing. Isn't that amazing? The more you think about it, the funnier it gets.
I'm sorry that I swear to
No,
everybody.
it's okay. Don't worry, it'll be gone. I'm the only one who knew it happened.
God,
and Veronica.
that is hilarious. That's so good.
It's so good.
That's so true.
It's so good. Anyway, well, today was 3D printing, and I thought it was an interesting subject, and but I do want to kind of chase this 3D printed paper that's activated by water and see where that goes. So we'll find more information on that, but. That's been 3D printing, and we're gonna end there. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
We are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Jacob's brain is constantly rebuilding itself.
Oh gosh, it's don't be environmentally gimmicky.
Featuring? Is it my featuring? He's featuring.
He's featuring.
It's
This guy.
Oh, this guy's got bubbles. Yeah. I talk a lot about Jacob on the show.
Yeah, you do. And featuring Todd, water socks. What's this new one?
There are lions in my pants.
There are lions in your pants, yes.
Take the W and get back to it.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Take the W and get back to it.
Yeah, that was new. So it's no surprise that you weren't ready for that. Yeah, that was figured out last week.
I can't remember them when I know them.
And that was it, right?
Yeah, you guys didn't make one today.
I thought we made a joke that maybe, which was
if we had another one this week,
it was delivered the goods.
I'm gonna kill someone.
Okay, no more takes.
Because then we have to remember it next week.
Okay,
and I just
pause.
I don't care if it was the best thing we ever came up with.
It's not the best thing, except lions in our pants was pretty good. Veronica, do you have anything to say before we get out of here?
Have a lovely time.
Thank you.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.